a brave soul decided he was going to try and change Ben Shapiro's mind on rap music. And you know what? I think we should see how that goes. And I can't wait personally to see how somehow Ben Shapiro is just ungodly levels of racist.
You mentioned rap, so now we have to talk about it. So the elephant in the room is that I have tweeted many times about how much I hate rap. So my view of this is shaped by the fact that I have the cultural profile of a Bond villain, meaning that if I drank alcohol, it would be brandy from a snifter. I've played classical violin since I was 5 years old. I own a nice violin. My dad is a professional pianist. We play Brahms together. And so I grew up listening to classical music almost entirely, some Broadway, maybe, so well, not maybe, so a lot of classic jazz like Oscar Peterson. But apparently, number one, do you think that it's racist not to like rap? Because I've been told that if I do not like rap, then this is because I do not like black people, which I find shocking since I particularly like jazz, which is a black art form. So can we just assuage my fears here that I'm not a racist for not liking rap, and then you can convince me that I'm actually wrong about rap?
Yeah, no, I think you're wrong. I definitely don't think it's racist. No, this is the thing. People say such crazy stuff. I don't get how someone can jump.
Also, Twitter has changed in radical ways. Like, it used to be that 10 years ago you could make a joke about rap not being music, and you're stupid if you didn't.
It used to be you could say that something really funny, like all Arabs live in sewage, and get a bunch of laughs on Twitter.
Disagree, and people are like, that's a joke. Yeah. And now it's like, no, you meant that you hate black people. It's like, whoa, where did that come from?
People really read non-existent malice and non-existent interpretations into things people say. It's just a weird trend, which I do hope goes away, because it's really...
Can someone look up rapper Zuby and tell me, like, is this guy like someone who makes MAGA raps or something?
Annoying. And also it makes it difficult to take those words seriously. Okay? If someone, you're an Orthodox Jew, if someone says that you're a Nazi or you're a white supremacist, or I've been called a white supremacist,
Zuby
someone's, calls everything racist, everything sexist, then it really dilutes those terms to the point where I don't even know what these things mean anymore. Everybody's been called far right. Everybody's been...
Is he... Okay, well, I guess at this point, okay. Rapper Zuby. He was raised in Saudi Arabia. Interesting. Rapper, author, podcaster, public speaker, coach, strong advice ebook.
My vision coming to fruition. Did it independent, didn't need that supervision. Come to me for wisdom, so I'm more than a musician. I could never be a victim, I don't meet the definition. Nah, smarter mathematician. So I multiply while they just focused on division. Try to take away, but I just focus on addition. Tunnel vision, no opposition, I don't see the competition. Praying how they teach us, but imperfect in conviction. Try to follow Jesus, but I'm not a perfect Christian. Devil on my shoulder trying to lead me to perdition. Angel on the other trying to keep me on this mission. And this is benediction. To a non-believer, what I say is superstition. To a true believer, what I say is erudition. Not a missionary, I'm just finding my position. Always stay real, never been a slave, so I'm never gonna kneel. I don't play it safe, I don't care how they feel. From the cradle to the grave, I'ma always stay real.
Okay, so very clearly there is some level of, like, Christianness to this music. I don't know much about rap, but this just sounds like there was a white rapper, like a white Christian rapper, who was doing the rounds a couple years ago. Oh, interesting. Here's him talking about BLM. Okay.
Very clear even from this conversation, and all the conversations every time BLM comes up, is that it is divisive. It's divisive. This is stoking racial tension, not just in the I mean, it's crazy it's been imported to the UK, but in the USA, it's exactly the same. You had cities on fire in 2020. There was so much tension. Multiple people
Yep, entire cities wiped off the map. They're all gone now.
Got killed. Over 20 people got killed in the BLM protests and riots in 2020. So this started from one black man getting killed, and then you've got another few dozen getting killed.
But Zuby, some of these organisations, they'll say to you, but Zuby, you are oppressed, and we're here to help you.
I'm not oppressed. They're not there to help me, and they're not helping me. They're not helping black people in general. They are helping themselves. The way you stop racism is by people not being racist. It's not by calling everyone racist. It's not by...
Damn. What an incredible prescription for society, my dude. The way you stop being bad is by being good. Clearly, we just need individuals to choose to be good, and nothing bad will happen. It's almost like this... By the way, this guy is in the UK. Like, the UK is like the hub for systemic racism. Like, country exported it all across the world. Come on now.
False and unkind accusations against everyone. It's not about virtue signaling and putting up hashtags and black squares and kneeling down. It's about simply treating people as equals. That's all it takes.
And do you buy into, in this day and age, because there is a suggestion that in the here and now, in this day and age, that many aspects of society, whether it's institutions or whatever, are fundamentally racist. Do you think that that is the case in today's society?
I don't think it's the case, and I don't think it's useful. These terms, systemic, structural, institutional racism, they're popular because they're these apparitions, they're these ghosts where you never need to define anything or be precise. You just say, oh, the system is racist, the institution's racist. You can just throw it out there and people just nod and cheer.
Yep. My rear end. Yep. The only racist country to ever exist was Britain. All the other countries, A-okay.
But you can't fix a problem like that. If you want to deal with individual instances of racism, you need to be able to identify them, highlight them, and then you can deal with that individual issue. If you just say, oh, the whole system, the whole country, top to down, is racist, then that doesn't help anyone apart from the activists.
Yeah.
But no activist is... Well, very few activists are saying we need to dissolve the state and start again, okay? That's not going to happen. Australia is unceded land. I don't know what that means.
All right. If someone actually is legitimately far right or a legitimate neo-Nazi, I'd like to know, who that person is. But if you're just going to call everybody that, then you're just providing cover for the real bad guys. So I do wish people would kind of chill on that kind of rhetoric.
Okay, so my case against rap is I have the musical case against rap, and then I'll get to the cultural case against rap. So the musical case.
The cultural case against rap. Can't wait.
Case against rap is that, in my view, and the view of my music theorist father who went to music school, there are three elements to music. There is harmony, there is melody, and there's rhythm. Okay. And rap only fulfills one of these, the rhythm section. That there's not a lot of melody and there's not a lot of harmony. And thus it is basically effectively spoken rhythm. And so it's not actually a form of music, it's a form of rhythmic speaking. And thus so beyond the subjectivity of me just not enjoying rap.
Okay, but Sam and Moose, you know I didn't mean that seriously, that the UK is the only racist country. You guys know that, right? Please.
Rap all that much. It's what I've said before is it's not music. So tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, there's certainly melody in the beats, and even some rappers rapping / singing certainly has a melody. I'm not a particularly melodic rapper myself. There are artists who sort of sing rap a lot more, but I'd certainly say in terms of the production, there's a lot.
Oh yeah, I was irritated in making a sarcastic comment.
A lot of harmony and melody in there. In terms of rapping itself, obviously rapping is a different art from singing. So the focus is on the rhythm rather than on the melodies and the harmonies by intention. Otherwise you'd be singing. Right? I'm not too great at harmony and melody.
Ben Shapiro says he likes jazz, pays no respect to the generations of drum soloists who perform jazz with drums.
And people don't want to, nobody would pay to see me on stage singing. But in terms of the lyricism and the rhythm, that's really where the skill lies.
Ben Shapiro says he loves jazz, but says music must adhere to rules. Curious.
So as an art form, it's I mean, it's a really unique form of music in a lot of ways. One, I think, is that you've just got the space to
Also,
express
he
yourself.
seems like he only has one
And
album.
in hip hop, you can really rap about it.
Like, I went to his website. He only had one album out. Like, I don't know. Like, is this guy really the expert you want to bring on for, like, one album that's, like, vaguely aligned with your politics? I don't know.
Anything. You can make a song about absolutely anything. You can make a political rap song. You can make a rap song about love or romance or any topic. Lots of genres of music. You're somewhat restricted in terms of what you can talk about and express lyrically. Whereas in hip hop, that's just totally wide open. And as I'm sure you know, people use that for a whole bunch of different things. You've got your gangster rap, you've got your positive sort of conscious rap, you've got your deep stuff. You can tell life stories. You can just share opinions on pretty much anything. And so it's really, really unique in that sense. And yeah, I think it's a little bit like, they're very different music forms, but I think it's a little bit like country in that regard, in the way that you can kind of make a song about anything, and the people who write the lyrics tend to
Yes. Music famously not used for telling stories.
be the same people who perform them. Whereas in genres like pop and even rock, it's not uncommon to have a separate songwriter who then provides that to the person who sings it. So with hip hop, what you're really getting is the artist's own expression.
Kind of
so I can go away, I can write a song, and what someone's listening to is really just the mind of Zuby, just like they can listen to this conversation, this interview, and they're getting what's going on in my mind. It's the same if they go and they listen to the lyrics of my songs. They know, okay, this is the story he's telling, this is where he's coming from, that's where his heart is. In terms of the music aspects to it, whether or not you like that and it vibes with you and you're feeling with that,
Right, I mean, that's subjective,
that's
obviously.
totally subjective.
So my other kind of artistic criticism
Yeah.
of rap is maybe a stereotype about how rap is written. So I have this kind of theory, and it holds true across all musical form, which is that art and craft are not in opposition, but very often they seem to be placed in opposition, meaning there's and this leads to my criticism of rock along the same lines as my criticism of rap, which was that rock was an actual degradation of skill for music from jazz, which was actually a degradation of skill from classical. That the amount
Yes, Ben Shapiro's cultured opinion is that the only true form of music is classical music. And ever since, it's been degraded by the non-whites.
and work, mostly work, that you have to put into mastering a classical instrument is a lot higher than the amount of talent that you and work you'd have to put into playing 3 chords in a rock
Guitars are also classical instruments, Ben.
song. And so when it comes to the lyrics in rap, maybe, I'm sure part of it is because I just don't have a lot of experience listening to a lot of rap, but it seems like that there's a lot of praise that's put out for particular rappers who it seems to me are doing something that doesn't seem innately very difficult. It doesn't seem like the lyrics have exact rhyme. I have this criticism of even, I mean, in musical theater, this is one of my criticisms of Lin-Manuel Miranda, actually, is that he doesn't use exact rhyme enough. He uses near rhymes, and he uses sort of easier forms of rhyme very often and stacks lyrics in order to make things sound more complex than they are. And then you watch movies about rap, and it seems like somebody just gets up on the mic and they just go. And and how much work actually goes into crafting a rap lyric? How much time has to go in?
He's literally asking, like, does Ben think that, like, rappers literally just, like, make it up on the spot? I mean, some can. But, like, again, if it's so easy, Ben, drop a rhyme right now. Go for it.
Into figuring out the rhythmic scheme and the rhyme scheme, because I think that would change my opinion somewhat on how rap is constructed.
Sure, this really depends on the rapper, to be totally honest with you. There are rappers who I would totally agree do not spend much time or thought or energy in crafting what they're saying, right? They just put something together and it's a very basic rhyme scheme and they'll just go there and it'll be quite repetitive. In terms of the content, there's not really any decent message in there. They're not telling any story. They're not using any clever wordplay or anything like that. So to me, that's what makes a bad
Indeed,
rapper.
Spherical Man.
If you were to take a great rapper, I don't know, Nas, Eminem, Jay-Z, someone like that, whose lyrics are a lot more complex and in depth, then I'd like to, or myself, of course, I'd like to think a lot goes into it. A lot goes into it in terms of the rhythmic patterns and what you'd call the flow, which is essentially how you ride the beat. So if you've got a beat that's a faster tempo, you might rap at double the speed and have you're essentially using your voice kind of like a percussive instrument. It might be more comparable to drumming, say, than to in terms of the delivery.
Right.
But then in terms of the actual lyrical content, for me, that for a great artist, that's where the real thought comes in. And again, when it comes to hip hop, if you're making a hip hop song, average rap song probably has 8 to 10 times the amount of lyrics, if not more, as pretty much any other genre. So you've got a lot of stuff. Typically you'll have 3 16-bar verses. So you've got a lot of space to say a lot of stuff if you want to. I mean, some artists don't say much. I like to think, in all my songs, I put a lot of thought into what I'm saying and the message I'm trying to communicate out there. And there's a lot of wordplay and a lot of metaphors and similes and just trying to do clever stuff with the writing. So again, I think that the real answer to that is it depends on the rapper. Just like you could have somebody who does a very basic form of dance or playing an instrument and they're just, okay, I'm going to just play the piano like
one
that.
finger, yeah.
Like that, versus someone who's a proper virtuoso. You do get the same thing in hip hop and with rap.
Look, I'm not very good. I don't know that much about rap as an art form, okay? I'm like a little babby when it comes to a lot of musical genres. I'm just waiting for Ben to give his cultural argument against rap.
My parents used to be a little bit disparaging of rap and hip hop until I started doing it, and they saw me performing and were like, "How is he doing that?" That's where they're really like, "Okay, that's a talent."
Okay, so let's talk about the cultural critique of hip hop and rap. So for a long time in the United States, there's been criticism, and I think some of it is well founded, about the messages that are purveyed by hip hop and rap. And there are folks like Candace Owens on the right who have critiqued my critique of hip hop. They've said that I'm not really seeing a lot of the deeper messages in hip hop. She particularly likes to talk about the value of capitalism and success in hip hop. She says that, like, to cite the Trump example, the emulation of success in hip hop is really strong, and she sees that as a strong positive. From the outside, when I listen to hip hop, I don't hear a lot of family-oriented messages. In fact, I hear a lot of messages that are degrading to women. I hear messages that push violence, that are disparaging to the police. I hear messages very often that...
When I listen to hip-hop, I hear messages that are quite just disparaging of the police, and not really all that keen on the family. Why do you think that might be? Like, goodness. Oh, man. Dude needs to listen to NWO on a loop, okay? Or NWA.
Relationships between men and women as something disposable or glorify mistreatment of women. And that's not a criticism of your art, because obviously I want to discuss your messages in a second.
Yep.
But the art form overall, which obviously has a major impact, not just on black young people, but is disproportionately listened to actually by white young people. I don't particularly like a lot of the messages that I hear in hip hop. By the way, I've made similar criticisms of pop music, which I think does a lot of the same things. What do you make of that particular critique?
You're not going to get a lot of pushback from me on that one, because I think you're correct. Especially in terms of the popular mainstream stuff that gets pushed out there hard, a lot of the stuff that gets the promotion that people will hear on the radio or in nightclubs and stuff like that, a lot of it does have a lot of negative messaging. Part of that is the reason why from the very beginning of my music career, I was like, I'm going to do the opposite of that, because it's something that's there. I think it's a truth in entertainment in general. I don't think that's something that is, I think compared to other genres, you might get more of that in the hip hop art form. And I think a lot of that is, down to the artists and where they're.
Oh, okay. Wait. Okay. This guy got famous after posting a video of himself doing a deadlift of 525 pounds. while saying that he had broken the British women's deadlift record and identified as a woman. So is claiming that he had set a new women's world record. That's why this guy is famous. Amazing. And
whatnot. But a lot of it is also what people want to. It's a weird supply and demand thing as well. This is something I've questioned myself for a very long time, is how much of this is what people are demanding, and so artists are just continuing to supply it because it works. People might say, oh, we don't like the misogynistic messages, we don't like the drugs, we don't like the violence, but people are dancing to it and buying it and purchasing it, and so people are going to keep on making it. So I don't know how much of it is just that versus how much is, record companies and people in power in the entertainment industry and whatnot wanting those to be the messages that get the push out there, because there's a lot of positive hip hop out there. It's a lot of positive hip hop that's not degrading at all, that's non-violent, that's not profane, but a lot of the time it doesn't get the same push, it doesn't get the same shine, it's not being embraced by all these mainstream channels, and that's something that for 20 years I've been looking at and thinking, that's interesting. Why is that? So I don't really know how much of it is artist-driven versus fan-driven. Beyond hip-hop, like I said, I think it's an issue in entertainment in general, whether you're talking all forms of music, certainly pop music as well, like you said, video games, movies, TV. There's a lot of stuff that's put out there, which is certainly...
Is he from Turf Island? Yes.
Questionable. And it's a funny one for me because to some degree I'm like, it's just entertainment. And, the truth is, for whatever reason, we humans, I think especially guys, do like, to some degree, we do like violence. We do like sex. We do like all that. We do like gangster movies where you're kind of rooting for the bad guy and whatnot, which that doesn't mean you go out there in real life and that's the way. Right? No, you go out there and you behave that way. You see this thing when people are saying, oh, do violent video games cause people to commit violence and stuff? The evidence doesn't seem to show that's the case, but I'll do stuff in a video game that I wouldn't dream.
Oh yeah, he also came together with a bunch of people in 2020 to support J.K. Rowling. So yeah,
dream of. I would dream of doing in real life. I mean, I don't even swear. I've been listening to profane hip hop for the best part of my life, and I don't even cuss. And I get people who are like, how can you listen to all this and you don't even, and I'm like, it just doesn't affect me. It's just entertainment to me. It gets me pumped up to do my workouts in the gym or whatever. So I know myself personally, I'm certainly able to separate that. Can everybody do it? I don't know really. How much effect does it have on people? I don't know really.
I do wonder whether rap does just as an art form because it is verbally based, as opposed, like you can listen to a pop song and you can sing the pop song without knowing any of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Whereas it would be impossible to do that with a rap song because obviously the lyrics are the entirety of the song, or at least the vast majority of the song. I wonder if the verbalization and the identification with the words is stronger in hip hop than it would be with other genres, for example.
It could be. I mean, the way I look at it, to be totally honest, is I make positive, inspirational, motivational hip hop music. And I've had people tell me in real life and online that they've been directly influenced or inspired in a positive way by my music. So if that can exist, it must be possible that the opposite can also exist, and that there can be negative influences and impacts from certain messages being put out there in hip hop and other forms of art.
Okay, that was more boring than I thought it was going to be. I don't know. This guy seems to be a transphobe. He's also been unjustly held at gunpoint by police. So, like, his position of, like, not understanding, like, African folks disliking how they're treated by police in, like, the UK. Would that be, like, UK... I don't know what the terminology is there. It's pretty wild how, like, the only thing you need to do to get on, like, talk shows for conservatives is, like, do one somewhat noteworthy thing and then also just be publicly bigoted.